wasn't.
Yeah,
that
no,
wasn't
it's.
bad.
I don't want to go back, but just. I work with an older guy. He's another contractor, and he's a great dude. But he knows all the things. Like, he knows all the places. He's been everywhere. He knows. He remembers how to get to this quarry back in this. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, 911 address. Send it to me. I follow the blue line. I'll get there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. Don't give me any other. Like, don't give me a landmark or nothing.
I like
don't
that 911
care.
address. I like that.
Well, some of the places we work don't have real addresses.
So that's where you get a pin.
Yeah.
You know. See, because I've especially
You're right.
especially in the
100%.
mining industry, I've gone to job sites and they're like, "This is where it is," and it's like it's literally like that movie, you know, where you're in the deserts of Arizona and there's a crossroads and you can't see anything except
nothing.
tumbleweed.
Yep.
And it's like, which way do I go? Yeah.
Any way you want.
And some places out there, GPS and phones don't
work. Yeah. Well, so there's places in Pennsylvania that I've been, and in West Virginia, and lots of other places. GPS doesn't work, and there's no help. There's no hope. And you're looking for a literal needle in a haystack. You're like from the road, it's not possible to see. You need a drone. You would have to fly a drone above you while you drive to see the landmark.
Yeah.
To get to this random sign behind a cow gate, a cattle guard or something. Yeah, it's awesome.
So a funny fact about Pennsylvania, and listen, our podcast isn't about facts, so you can like Google this, and if I'm wrong, well then I just don't know. But I remember reading somewhere that Pennsylvania has more roads than any other state in the union.
I believe.
And
I've been on a lot of them.
you know, you know that if you live here because there's so many roads that they can't actually take care of them all.
Yeah.
And part of the reason is we're one of the oldest states in the country. And so there were all these roads that existed, and like there wasn't thought given to why they were created or how they were created. They just are like, hey, Robert went down this way with his wagon for 50 years, and let's pave that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in coal country. This is Blair, Clearfield, Center County here where I live, and it's all coal mine. It's very interesting. This part
I know we're in coal country because you can hear the drone and it's freaking you out. You think it's the government.
I
don't
do
you?
think it's but this part of the country has made life possible for people from the founding of Pennsylvania all the way to now, based off of natural resources. They timbered out all
Penn's Woods.
Yeah, they timbered out all the pine trees off. They used to say you could walk from where we're standing here 20 miles and never see the sun because the pines were so tall. It was dark woods, and they cut them all down. They clear cut everything, and they sent them up to Massachusetts and Maine to build masts on schooners and whaling ships. Then, so they did all that. Then they realized, oh, there's some coal under the ground. So they started digging that in the mid 1800s or early 1800s. Then Bradford, Pennsylvania is the original oil field. It's the original oil boom was in Bradford, Pennsylvania. They have currently still refining oil and high quality lubricant up there.
Really?
So,
I didn't know.
Oh yeah, it's the original oil boom is in Pennsylvania.
Well, I knew that because of Oil City and what's his name, the guy with all the money years
Rockefeller.
ago. Yeah, Rockefeller.
Yeah. And so they do that. Then they realize, oh, there's even more coal. So they keep digging that. Then they realize this is one of the best places to grow hardwoods in the entire world. And they grow this Pennsylvania and around this area is the number 1/number 2, just depends on what year, producer of natural hardwoods in the country, period, all the time. It's just the way it is. So then, but they don't clear cut anymore. They're very good at managing forests. I mean, it's crazy. And then as that was petering out and as the third boom of coal was petering out, they realized there's Marcellus Shale and Utica Shale, and there's even more shale gas under that and wet gas. And so
our
then
gas deposit is one of the largest.
It's one of the largest.
Country.
I mean, we're only second, I think, don't quote me, but we might be second to like the Bakken out in North Dakota. And so just one after the other, just natural resource. And that's how Pennsylvania's gone. And so we have these random roads that go places. We have roads like Shawmut Grade Road. It's a huge, long dirt road that's in the largest oil play, contiguous oil lease in Pennsylvania. And it's you can drive on it for an hour and it's just a big dirt road. And everywhere you look, there's wellheads, drill rigs, pads, and it's just crazy. It's awesome. And then you have roads up the road over there. There's a road called Mine 10 Road.
That's the road.
That's the road. It's just a
Mine
road
10.
that goes to the old mine number 10. There's mine 18 road, mine 28 road, and it's crazy. But we love it. It's a great place to be. Small town. There's about 450 people who live here in this little town, and the next town over's got 400, next over 500, and then it's great. It's up in the mountains. Nowhere.
Speaking of mining, you have this 1,500-pound coffee table that you brought in here for us.
Yeah,
What is this thing?
that's
I'm going to ask you questions right as you take a drink. Like that's my goal.
Look.
It's totally my jam.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that is the guts out of a crusher, and it's for crushing aggregate. It's part of what we do as a welding company is service the mining and aggregate manufacturing industry, concrete, asphalt. That's kind of our niche.
Okay.
Is taking care of these guys. So.
Well, we should actually probably get started. We've been talking here for a while, and you guys have probably been listening to our conversation. Yeah, you've been recording, which is good. I'm talking to the people that are listening, not to you, but I can talk to you. Would you like me to talk to you? So, behind the camera, sometimes they have an attitude problem, especially that one. So I'm sitting here with Daniel of Apex Welding. What's your last name, Daniel?
Perea.
See, I actually knew that. He told me that before, but I was not going to dare try to pronounce it on air. Yeah. Daniel
Perea.
See, I did it again. And Apex Welding is your company.
Yes.
So I really would like to. I'm so appreciative that you've invited us here into your shop, your workspace, and like this is the quintessential welding shop. I've been in a few of them. And there's a certain layer of dust, which we'll call profits, that is on everything here. And, I don't know if you can see this. We'll have to, zoom in or something. But even Daniel's shirt is ventilated,
Natural.
because of his trade.
Yeah.
So would you call yourself a welder by trade?
What
would you call yourself? What would you say if you had to pick one, which is a really fun thing to do to you, what would you say is your trade?
Technically, I would say I'm a welder, but I'm just a kid who fell asleep in math class and woke up with tools in my hand, and that's it. I've done so many different things, starting out sweeping up in a hot rod shop as a little kid. That's where I learned how to weld at 12. Is in a hot rod shop in New Jersey, and a guy just was too hungover to come to work, and I was sweeping up and running a little sandblast cabinet, and they said, "Hey, you want to learn how to weld today?" And I said, "Yeah." And so I started in on that, and then
what kind of welding did you start with? Like stick welding?
MIG welding.
Okay.
MIG welding. It was just
so that's not really welding for those of you who are listening.
I don't want to get into it, but it's hey, I will say this: if you get paid,
come on,
and you take care of your family,
come on,
it's good.
Yes,
and it's easy to make fun of each other and kind of rib, and that's great. I'm just not that guy. I have a tough time with it.
I love it.
Because I've done so many different things, and I see the value in each one of those things. I don't believe in small jobs. Or menial tasks. Some of the most important things happen underground where no one's ever going to see it. And no one's ever going to know it existed or know the people who did it. And it's some of the most important work that happens in our world. It's hidden behind walls, and it's hidden under layers of concrete, which are hidden under layers of flooring, which are hidden under layers of this. And then there's a guy in a corner office.
Yeah.
But really, the guy who built the corner office is the most important of them.
I read a post this week of a guy saying that the wall that you hang your diploma on was built by a tradesperson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. And being an electrician by trade for me, all my life my work has been covered up.
Yeah.
And I think that in the trades in general, there is this like mantra of it being devalued, and to the point that you're making, that I want to say, whether it's MIG welding, TIG welding, or whether you're welding underwater, whatever it is. All of it matters. And what matters even more than that are the people that do it. And that's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, 100%.
So tell us a little bit about, we always talk about origins, and I think you have an interesting story. So that you told us where you started. Tell us a little about your journey and how you got to this chair right here where you're sitting with me.
Okay, yeah. So I like I said, I learned how to weld at a pretty young age. My mom, just my mom and me and my older brother, and work was just part of what you did. It was part of existence. I can remember being in first grade and my brother taking me to school, but before school we had to deliver 200-ish papers, in first grade. My brother's 5 years older than me, so he was, a little older and could do that. But I'm riding on the back throwing papers and folding papers, and so it was just part of life. Was just work. You don't work, you don't eat, and that's even my lullabies my mom used to tell us were about work. Is very strange, but and that sounds weird, but just basically like if there's little bunnies in a field and the farmer's gonna mow the field. If he says, I'm just trying to remember the lullaby, but basically my mom would tell us a story that said the little bunnies were in the field and they would run home and say, Mom, we got to move. Why? Because the farmer said he's going to call his friends to mow the field. No, you don't have to worry about it. The next day, Mom, we got to move. Why? The farmer said he's going to call his brother to help him mow the field. No, we're good. The next day, Mom, we got to move. Why? The farmer said he's going to mow the field. It's time to go. And that was what I got told as a kid, as a little bedtime story. so
you're the first person ever to tell a bedtime story.
Yeah. I mean, that's a weird bedtime story. I get it. Like that, my childhood was a little bit of a strange world, but that all just led up to I knew that my identity would be mine if I worked, and I got to the opportunity to work.
We got to say that again.
Oh,
you knew that your identity would be yours.
Yeah.
If you worked.
Yeah.
So I know that you're on
14,
a roll.
That was 14-year-old
That was 14.
me.
And what do you mean by that statement? Like,
Okay.
what do you mean by that?
So at
unpack
13,
that.
12, 11, I grew up in a small town in New Jersey, which is a big town, most other places, but everybody knew each other. I was kind of an outsider. I didn't fit in. And my brother is an awesome guy, but he had a little bit of a reputation. My mom had a reputation. Like, I didn't have a dad. Like, all these things were happening to me.
Yeah.
And I had no influence in how anyone treated me or responded to me or called me, right? And so one day I got asked to go shovel some snow by an older guy who had a landscaping company. And he said, go shovel, like, do you want to shovel snow? I said, yeah, sure. I was 14. I'll say I was 14. I could have been 13. I don't know. And he says, okay, I'll call you when it snows. So he calls me. He says, hey, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to pick you up. Bring coffee and lunch. So 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm standing outside in a snowstorm.
You're 14.
14 years old. He comes up, getting his Suburban. Actually, it was a 3500 single cab, which is why I love single cabs forever. 3500 Chevy. We drive out to this
The
condo.
old box style?
Yeah, it was an OBS. It was a 96.
Yeah. Oh,
it wasn't old then. Because
It
it was almost brand new. But to me, I was like, it's a cool truck. But anyway, so I go out. And they hand me a shovel and they say, get to shoveling. And 27 hours later, we were done. And
14.
At 14. And there were adults that just quit. They were like, I'm out. This is stupid.
Yeah.
And at 14 years old, I just did it. And they looked at me, the guy, he said, hey, can you drive these guys home? I said, no, I can't. He's like, I can't believe they get me these guys with no driver's license. And I'm like, bro, I'm 14. And he's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, not because he was drinking. Well,
Yeah,
maybe you were drinking.
I wasn't.
I don't know.
No. I made a lifelong commitment at 13 not to drink, and I still hold to that today. So,
good for you.
But anyway, yeah. So in that moment of them saying like, "Hey, do this," and then I did it, they did not know my brother. They didn't know my mom. They didn't know my background. They didn't know like what it was like at my house. They didn't know that I was a loser.
Right.
To them, I was a guy, almost an adult,
because of the work that you did.
would do what was needed to be done.
There it is.
And
There it is.
I learned that lesson. I said, okay, wait a second. At home and at school, I'm a loser. When I'm here, I do what they say, and I do it the best I can.
Come on.
And they treat me well, and then they reward me with appreciation certificates that have presidents on them with money.
Dead presidents.
Dead presidents. Yeah. They give me money for this.
Yeah.
All I have to do is, and it's not like my whole life was suffering.
Yeah.
Everything was hard.
Yeah.
So I just do hard stuff with people that are awesome.
Yeah.
And they reward me and they give me value and worth. Like they tell me I'm worth something. Man, at 14, that saved my life.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, that saved my life. Like I was at 14 years old, I was very self-destructive. I didn't drink or do drugs. I wasn't like this wild, like, traditionally awful person. I was skateboarding at like a pretty high level, but it was all for destruction. Like everything I wanted was to get rid of me, like to change my identity, to be something. And these guys gave me that. They said, we're your family now.
Come on.
And I took that and ran with it. I mean, I ran hard into that. So I would be in high school, like in the wintertime, like, where's Daniel? Nobody would know. And 4 days later, I'd come back to school, still in my work clothes, smelling like diesel, because I've been plowing snow for 5 days straight, you know, and summertime, where's it? Work. That's it. Like 70 hours a week. That's what you do as a kid. And it wasn't about money. It was about identity. Doing that allowed me to be my own person.
Yeah.
And not have to be who I really who I had been, or what the world thought of me, or what society thought of me.
It was the start of you building the brand of Daniel.
Yeah, essentially.
I mean, because that's what brand is. Brand is reputation. And I find it really interesting because I've heard this throughout my career and even from others and from yourself even just now. If you want to be successful in business or in life, you do what you say you will do. Yeah. The thing that blows my mind is how shocked people are when you do that. Yeah. Like my business partner and I in our first business, we would have people come to us at the end of a job and they would be like, so we just want to give you this next job. Well, why? What did we, like, it was so impressive. And we really struggled with it because we're like, what did we do? Because it was just the work. And we didn't try really hard. We just did what we said we would do. And that's what they said. They said, well, you said you would do this, and then you did it.
Yeah. People who are...
I was too stupid to know that there was another option. I really was. I thought that's
you
how
cannot do this? Yeah. I didn't have any other options either. I painted myself into a corner. But they're like... So let's fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
So I work for this landscaping company. I wound up, that person who asked me to shovel snow, I stayed with them all the way through college. So from 14 to 23, I worked for the same place, roughly. But here's the crazy thing. The guy who owned it, it was him and his brother, and they started that when they were like 12 or 13 years old. And they would have their mom put a lawnmower in the trunk of their mom's car, drive them uptown, like literally up a hill town, and they'd mow lawns all the way back. In 87, they almost went bankrupt because of a crazy, they were over leveraged and they didn't have enough cash flow, and the market crashed, and they almost went bankrupt, and they decided they're going to do everything with cash after that, cash only. So they had great foundation, and the one brother who was an owner, he had left the business after high school and went out and was an underwater welder. He went to school, became an underwater welder, a salvage diver. He traveled all over the world doing that for like
that's a
5,
cool,
6, 7 years.
Yeah, that's legit.
He's like living on like the Gulf of Mexico or America. Sorry, it was the Gulf of America back then. No, it was the Gulf of Mexico back then. But he was living down there. He's living in Philippines and Thailand, doing all this crazy stuff, learning all these crazy things, salvage diving, like just all this stuff. He gets tired of doing that, comes home, becomes a mechanic at a GM dealer, becomes a master GM tech, gets tired of that, and goes to his brother and says, hey, can I come back? And his brother says, yeah, heck yeah. So now this guy who's my boss has all these crazy experiences. He built out this huge shop. If they wanted something, like, oh, we need a new dump trailer, they've built a dump trailer.
Yeah.
If they wrecked a truck and flipped it over, they fixed it in the shop. They welded everything. That is what painted skilled trades everything. Are. Yeah, they just did it
if
all
you
on their own.
You build it.
Yeah, you just do it.
Yeah.
And these guys, like, I learned, like, the long-term lesson was say yes, figure it out. If you want it, do it. And these guys, like, I would go to school and they'd be like, hey, you should go to college. And then I'd go to work and I'd be like, these guys have the life I actually want.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money they make, but they never talk about money because it's not an issue.
Right.
They don't drive brand new trucks, but they all drive sweet trucks.
Yeah.
They like if we want to go to a Black Sabbath concert, we go to a Black Sabbath concert. If we want to go to the beach, you know what we do? we get in our trucks and we go to the beach.
What is it about them that made them cool to you?
The fact that they were independent. They did exactly what they wanted to do. No one said, hey, you can't do that. They said, so as an example, one of the guys, he got married and bought a house.
Yeah.
And the house was junk.
Yeah.
Is one of the guys who worked with us. So what did the company do to support that guy? Every weekend after work, a couple of us would go to his house and we'd build walls. We'd put in bathrooms. We'd paint. We'd do drywall. We'd dig out his foundation. We'd build a deck. And 6 months after he bought the house, him and his wife move in. He didn't ever he called a guy who was an excavator because we knew a guy. Yeah. A guy came to help paint because we knew Bob the painter and we knew a plumber. And so on a Friday, a couple cases of beer, on a Saturday, whatever, we have a barbecue, have time. That was what was so cool about it, is they could do whatever they wanted whenever they wanted to do it. And they weren't worried about the things that other people were worried about. They didn't worry about what they looked like or what their status symbols were. They weren't worried about how other people viewed them. They drove what they wanted to drive, listened to what they wanted to listen to, went where they wanted to go, out to eat.
It sounds like that they also understood the importance of being able to work with a team of people.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because we were talking a little bit earlier about an individual, and we were talking about how they couldn't work with people, and I think that's a very unfortunate thing because team is one of those things. So in business, I actually, I'm gonna say some truthful things here, and people are probably gonna comment negatively.
Good.
But I hate, if you're an entrepreneur or you're a business owner and you tell people that, in your business that you're part of a family. Mm-mm. I hate that. And the reason that I hate that is family is one of those things that you can't choose family.
Yeah.
You are born into it, and that's the way that it is. When you are a part of a team in business, think about sports teams. People come and go. They come and go, and they're a part of a team, and you have the ability to be like, you know what? I'm moving over to that team because where I'm at in life now has some different things that I need or want. And it doesn't always mean that the team that you're walking away from is less than. It's just being a part of a team is the ability to work alongside other people for a common goal, which is success. And it sounds like these guys understood what that was.
Yeah. Yeah. That company is so interesting. Over the time, 8.5, 9 years that I worked there, they went from 12, 15 guys to 28 guys and then back to 11. And they realized that they could get more done with a committed, capable, guys who were highly skilled and highly motivated that trusted each other. We could do way more work with the right people in the right spots, And so,
all that really big companies that are really hugely successful are a company of teams like that within the company. Yeah. That's all that they are. Mm-hmm. There is no such thing as this giant big company, and it's not broken down like that because you need those teams. I mean, it's very much like special forces. When you have a team like that, you can conquer anything.
You can do anything.
You can do anything.
Yeah. My business partner and I, current business partner, it's so funny. When we started our partnership, he's like, bro, I would never in a million years be a partner with anybody but you. And I was like, yep, I would never partner with that. I think partnerships, like Dave Ramsey says, is the only ship that doesn't sail, a partnership. Right? And but here's the thing. We both said separately to each other in separate situations, I don't really care what we do.
Yeah.
As long as it's us doing it. So if my partner would come to me and be like, hey, we're going to build pole barns.
Yeah.
For the next 5 years. I'd be like, bro, I'm in 100%. The what? I literally don't care what.
I understand that.
It's who we're doing it with is important. And it's hard to build teams. It's very difficult. It takes time. It takes energy. It takes resources.
Well, you just said it right there. It takes time. I think that's one thing that I heard someone recently just say, if you're gonna spend time in a job or whatever, he said you really should commit to something for this is gonna scare a lot of people, but for 8 years. And he said, he goes, the reality is, You need to be now.
I'm scared.
Well, and I just mean it's like
Yeah.
we don't realize. Like I think time is the greatest equalizer.
Yeah.
You know, Jeff Bezos has hundreds of billions of dollars, but he has the same amount of time as we do.
Yeah.
And so time is the great equalizer. And I would say patience is an effective success tool. Whether it's 8 years, whether it's 5 years, whether it's 3 years, not quitting something or giving up on something when it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, the reality is you shouldn't give up on something or be like, you know what, well, now I'm going to do this until you're at the point where it's not hard. That's when you decide to do something different. When it's going really well and it's really, like starting to be easy, well, then it's the time. That's when you're like, you know what, maybe I'm going to shift and I'm going to do this. But you don't want to do that when it's really hard because you'll never get anything done. You can disagree with me on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So I don't necessarily disagree. What I would caveat that with, or just kind of like put a little asterisk by, is
You can look caveat up in the dictionary. It's a 3-syllable word.
so I was a total loner nerd as a kid, and I read more books than I had friends from the time I was like able
That's a
to
huge
read.
part of success.
I read voraciously.
That's a good thing. That's a good
And
thing.
so I might
And
use a
ferocious
word.
is another word that you can look
I
up.
might use a word or two that I'm like, I shouldn't use that. But
My business partner loves to, he like saves the words and throws them into conversation. And it's like, really?
I know. But to your point of sticking it out.
Yes.
So one of my favorite things about Gen Z or whatever the young guys are is they will go to work and do a good job, right?
Yeah.
And they want to do a good job. They want to work hard. They won't work for people who suck.
Yeah.
They will just quit. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm out. And also, if you tell them, hey, we're flexible, we're this, we're that, they'll hold you to that. And
Yeah.
they'll say, hey, in 2 months, I'm going to go to this concert for a week. And they're not asking.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, what's most valuable, I will do what I can here at work, but I'm going to that truck and tractor pull in Missouri with my friends
Yeah.
in August. That's what I'm doing.
Right.
And then their boss, some boomer, is like, it's 2 weeks before. He's like, well, we need you on this project, bud. And the kid's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Because you're in your truck on your phone for 5 hours a day, and I can see through your BS.
Yeah.
And so they go, peace. This is a good job. There's a million good jobs.
Yeah. There are.
And so I don't think it's worth sticking it out unless it's worth sticking it out.
Oh, there you go. How do you find out if it's worth sticking it out? What does it look like what are the
hard.
triggers or the flags? You know, you're a person
As a
and you're
young
in
person or as an
any
old
person.
man? Like I'm
Because
an
the
old guy now.
The reality is,
because it's changed. So as a young man, I didn't know there was an option of not sticking it out. I didn't know you could just quit. Now, the guys that I worked with were awesome, and they would tell stories like, oh, I went out to Colorado when I was in high school, and I started because I like to ski,
Right.
and I wound up getting a job at a ski lift manufacturer, and I traveled all over the world doing that. And then one day I said, I'm done, and I moved back to New Jersey. Like I knew a guy like that. And he's in his late 50s.
yeah,
And so I knew you could just do whatever you wanted. But at the same time, it was communicated to me that your yes is your yes and your no is your no. And so if you say yes, I'm going to show up and work for you, you are going to show up and work. Well, when does that end? Never. It just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. That was when I was 16.
right.
By the time I was in my mid-20s, I realized, hey, there are things that are more valuable or will get me where I want to go if I would only stick it out. And so like we're in my shop now. I bought this shop from an older fella who had gotten sick. He knew me as a person of high character, not as a good welder.
Right.
And he owned a welding business. And he said, I like you. I like your character. And I want you to come and work for me and take this over before I die. He was in his 70s. And so I did that. I quit my good job. Well, not good job. I quit my job that I had been doing. I committed 100% to this because I knew that if I committed to doing this thing, even though it was hard and going to suck, my future. If I sacrificed 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I didn't have skills at 25. I had time and tons of it. Potentially. I could have died in a car accident and energy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I'm going to work 60 hours for some company, I might as well work 60, 80, 100 hours for myself and get there. And I had the example of other men, the Vreeland brothers, that I worked for as a kid. I had that example of like, how do you do it? You don't spend more than you make. How do you do it? You say
That
yes
sounds
to
so
every
simple.
job. It isn't.
Yeah.
It is simple. It's costly. Not spending more than you make costs. That means you can't grow as fast. That means you can't do all the cool things. I was watching my buddies buy brand new side-by-sides and brand new campers.
Yeah.
I bought 10 acres and a 5,000 square foot shop. I couldn't do anything else. My wife and kids lived in a rotten double wide that the electricity was on the fritz, and I had to figure out why. And in the wintertime, the pipes froze every winter. So like I was committed to sacrificing for a few years so that my next 50 would be worth living. Because I couldn't buy a business. I couldn't go to the bank and like
You were choosing
financing.
what was valuable to you.
Yeah, I was choosing. And so that's how I would choose how to commit to something. If what you're doing is going to get you further than where you are now, where you want to go. So like,
Well, and I mean, not to keep quoting Dave Ramsey, but you.
he's a dude.
He is
I
a
love
dude.
him.
But I have a credit card, so he doesn't like me. But not to quote him all the time, but he makes this comment all the time where he says, "You live like no one else today, so that you can live like no one else there." And I look back on my life, and my point is, when you're young, you think that time. You're all afraid that you're going to lose time.
It's the only thing you got.
It's the only thing that you got. And the reality is it's like this vicious cycle of comparison of, well, my friends are doing this guy's doing that, and we do this thing, and our entire society and our culture is set up to make us feel like we're missing it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on Instagram, and Instagram exists to make you feel like you're missing it. That is what it's about. And so you're looking at this, oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. I've looked back on my life, and now I'm in a later part of life, and I'm experiencing things that I actually never would have imagined that I could be experiencing, but only because I put the time in. And I was willing to do what you said. I'm like, well, I believe that this has value. And so I'm going to continue doing it. And what I'm getting at is the importance of when it looks hopeless, that's when you're super close. When it looks like you can't make it through tomorrow, push harder.
Yeah.
So
to put this into like I love the high level concept stuff. I love all the theory and all the big quotes and all that stuff. And I really do. Like that's how my brain goes. But I live in a hard, dirty, dark world. Like every day when I go to work, I literally go to work in the dark, no matter how sunny it is.
Yeah.
I put my hood down and it's dark.
Yeah.
I have to be in the dark all day, and I'm by myself. When you are a welder and you're out on a job site, when you strike an arc, everyone leaves. No one's there to like hang out because you're basically lighting everything on fire, and it sucks. And there's nothing fun. Like it's terrible. And so I really, as much as I love the big concept stuff, I want to bring this conversation, if I could steer a little bit, down to like the nitty gritty of it. So I'm 25. Yeah. I'm taking over a business. Guess what? It was 2007. No, it was 2006 when that started, I guess, because I was 25, 26. Gets into 2007. I'm starting to work for a timber industry company. We fix, repair, and modify sawmills and sawmill equipment. And if you're too young to know what happened in 2007 and 8, the entire world came to a screeching halt. Not the entire world, just the construction industry. Yeah. And they build houses out of wood. And you know where wood comes from? It doesn't come from Lowe's. It comes from trees. Yeah. And you know where trees come from? Pennsylvania. And you know how you get a tree from a tree to a usable piece of lumber? A sawmill. And every sawmill, I had customers that were $26 million a year companies that they didn't even call me. They just said, every month, this many hours, show up and fix stuff.
Yeah.
One day they just said, don't come. And I'm like, what? And the next week, front page of the Altoona Mirror, such and such lumber company just laid off 250 people. They went bankrupt.
Yeah.
That's literally my bread and butter.
Yeah.
I signed the paperwork in 2007 to take over a timber industry business. By 2008, I was broke. By
Honestly, it's probably the best thing that ever happened.
It is
to business.
100% best thing that has ever happened to me as far as business and life is concerned. I don't trust anybody who doesn't fail. I don't trust anybody who has a lifetime of success. If you have only known success, you don't know a thing. If you've only known success, you have not learned any real lesson. And I don't trust you any further than I can see you. All of the people who have ripped me off, all of the people who have taken money from me, all the people who have canceled checks, they went from success to success to success to success. The people who have paid me and developed me and been good clients, and I've been a good contractor too, they have failed more times than I can count. And there I was in 2008, broke as a joke. I was 27 years old. I had 2 kids, a wife. We were living in a trailer that didn't have running water. My whole life had collapsed. I had to lay off 7 people. My best friend in the world, had 3 kids at home. He worked for me for over a month with $0 pay because he loved me, because he cared deeply about me, and I couldn't pay him. And
you got to deal with that. That's hard.
I almost died.
Yeah.
There's pictures of me from that time, and I'm white. I'm just pale. I would work and then go up to the house and just lay on the couch. And my wife's a saint, and she just dealt with it and just took it. And there were times where I couldn't even finish a quote because I was afraid that if I sent them that piece of paper, they were going to ask me to do it. And I didn't know if I could actually do it.
Come on.
And I was dying on the inside. I was dying everywhere. Like things were just crumbling. And it's like, how did I drag myself out of there? There's a huge faith component of that. Like I was a person of faith. I love Jesus. And even knowing Jesus and having faith, the reality was I had to get up and go to work. And I took on all kinds of wacky
Jesus
jobs.
Doesn't make things
it doesn't
easier.
make it easier. It actually, it kept me in that spot maybe a little longer to teach me a little more of like what it means. And finally through that, there was no I will say this, there was no like silver bullet that came and like, now everything's great, bro. It's still, I still have that wound in me, and I still look at invoices and I'm like, I got to think about this a little bit before I still look at quotes sometimes and I'm like, okay, hold on. That's not, we're not back in 2009 anymore. It's 2025. I'm not that same kid, and this isn't the same world, and we don't have the same clients, and like
but that experience is what I think. It's something that you cannot, you've lived through that. You know, we're really, really honored to have lived through that. Like I started my first business in 2005. So I got to think that I knew what I was doing before everything was destroyed.
Yeah.
And I love what you say about, you know, you don't trust anybody that doesn't walk with a limp.
Mm-hmm.
You don't trust anybody that hasn't failed. And to what you said, the people that have cost me money and have turned out to not be what I thought they were the people that have went from success to success. Yeah. And is all that means is that when things get hard, they're like, hey, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
That's all that means.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that they've actually gone from success to success. It just means that when things got hard, they're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And you know,
100%.
you want people that are willing to go shoulder to shoulder with you and willing to build with you. And when things get hard, like that's when you really know the character of a person.
Yep.
You know, when you have to go, and whether it's a client, whether it's an employee, whether it's a team member or a partner, that hardship, that's the best thing that can ever happen to you.
It is. It's also the hardest. And it's also like a lot of people want to run from it. They want to get away from it. They want to get away from it as fast as I can. Like as soon as I can get out of being like that, then I'm never going back. I'll never be like that again.
Have you ever heard about the difference between cows and buffalo?
Yes, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Cows run away and buffalo circle up and face the storm.
Yeah, when there's a storm coming, and they say when cattle run away, the storm is continued and it goes longer. When the buffalo faces the storm, there's something in them that they know if they run to it, that they'll be through it quicker than if they would run from it.
Yeah, something I say all the time, and if you follow me on Instagram, I just regularly post the same stuff for the last ever. I never change.
For the last ever. I love it.
But something that I say all the time is it's very hard quitting, and like it's going to take longer, it's going to cost more, but quitting is going to get you there faster.
Yeah.
It's just not. And
Yeah.
so in this business that I started way back then in 2008, I went through all that, and it's like, well, what do? I needed to learn more lesson. Like I needed to understand how to be a better business person. But I couldn't do it in real time. And I also needed to pay my mortgage. And so I sold my truck to pay my mortgage. I did random, I can remember, like if anybody wants to be a welder.
I know this story. I wish I didn't, but I do.
I just did whatever I could. I took on everything I could. I knew I needed to learn some stuff, but I didn't know where the mentors came from. I didn't know anything. And the internet wasn't what it is now. And you couldn't just like read an Ed Milet book or like listen to Jocko or anything. And so I can remember being just afraid and alone and everything on my shoulders and just like sitting in my truck. Like my wife will say, you would just leave the house and then come back sometime later. And I would just drive around and go and just stop at shops, stop at garbage companies, see if they had any work, whatever, trying to get my name out there. And one day a guy called me and was like, UPS. Yeah. A guy called me and said, "Hey, do you weld aluminum?" Yeah. He's like, "I'm having some problems with welding aluminum. I got this shop and we weld aluminum stuff." And I said, "Oh, okay, cool. I can come and help you out." And all he wanted, I didn't make any money. Didn't make a dime. I just went and helped him out, just taking care of some of his machines.
Yeah.
And then that was it. A year later, he calls me up. He's like, "Hey, man, I noticed you had a CNC table in your shop. I built my first CNC table from nothing. I got a box of parts that didn't work,
Freaking
and
welders.
I made it.
They build everything."
Yeah. So I built my first one, and because I couldn't afford, essentially, there were some parts. The guy was on vacation. You needed a CNC machine to cut them. He went on vacation. I couldn't buy the parts, so I bought parts to make a machine to cut the parts to do the job.
Yeah.
Because that's like what normal people do, right? That's what you do when you don't have any money. And so I built this machine. I taught myself CAD. I taught myself G-code and programming, the whole nine. And he's like, "Hey, man, do you know how to draw?" This is a year after I helped him fix a welder. He's like, do you know how to draw on CAD, right? I said, "Yeah." He's like, "I got a couple drawings. I just can't keep up with all the drawings. So could you come in and help me?" Little did he know, I had literally just sold my truck to pay my mortgage. I was coming out of the winter. I had no work lined up. He's like, "You're probably super busy." I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm so busy. I'm so busy dying."
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I'll come and help you. "How many hours is it?" He's like, "Well, just come in. We'll talk about it." I didn't ask him about money. I didn't ask him about anything. I just knew this is an opportunity to do something. Yeah. I'm going to go do it. And so I came in. I sat in the office. We talked for like 5 minutes. He's like, "This is what I need. Here's a template. Can you just I have like 200 drawings that all need to be fixed." Okay. He got me an old computer. I sat in this office and I literally hid in the office and just worked. And I didn't ask when to come in. I didn't ask when to go home. I just worked, just doing stuff. And I think I was like, "Just don't notice me. Don't notice me. Don't notice me. Just let me keep coming in because I need money." And it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Right.
I don't really like working on a computer or in an office. Well, one day, like 2 or 3 weeks later, I've just been hiding in this office, right? He walks by and he is mad. And he just walks past, slams the door, and goes out into the shop. 25 minutes later, he walks past and slams the door. "Stupid dang CNC. I can't freaking..." And I like poke my head up.
This podcast.
Well,
okay.
So you can, but I don't.
I love
it's
it.
a personal. When I was 14, my stepdad said, "Swearing is a sign of a lazy mind," and I'm not a lazy mind, and so I don't do it. Think of a different word. Anyway, so the guy walks past. He slams the door, swearing, and I like pick my head up above the monitor, and I'm like, "I can fix it." And he stops dead in his tracks, and he goes, "You can what?" I said, "Something wrong with the CNC table." "Yeah." "I can fix it." And he said, "If you can fix it, great." And he just closed the door and leaves. And I went out in the shop and I fixed it.
So wait a minute. This is important because I literally just had a conversation with an employee today, and they said, "I have this problem," and I was trying to teach them how to problem solve. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Well, don't call me for the answer." I said, "I want you to try 5 different things before you call me." And he goes, well, I don't know what to try. And I said, well, you need to figure that out.
Yeah.
So I want to know from you, because if you're listening to this, you said I can fix it, and you had no idea what the problem was.
I did not know what the problem was.
Which is honestly one of my greatest Teddy Roosevelt quotes. He says that someone asks you to do a job, you say, yes, I can do that, and then you go figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So how did you figure out how to do it? What were the things that you did
like, tactically?
In your mind?
How did I figure it out, or how did I figure out that I should say I can fix it?
What did you say in your mind after you said you can fix it? What were the thoughts that you had to get you to figure out the problem?
Okay, so everything is the same. There's nothing like building a house, fixing a CNC machine. It's all the same thing.
Come on,
start at the beginning with a solid foundation.
Come on,
like dig the hole properly, and then the next step, make it flat and level and square, and then the concrete on top, flat and level and square. Take your time, do it right, no matter what. And then when you have a firm foundation, put the wood on top of it. But how do you do that? Square and level and plumb. And then that makes the siding go better. And that makes the drywall go better. And that makes the electrical go better. And that makes the plumbing go better. And then the roof. And then da-da-da-da-da-da. It's all the same. There's nothing different. So with a CNC machine.
Now let's tell us the practicals of how you do that.
So go to the CNC machine. Yeah. What's the beginning? So I had previously built my own, fixed my own, worked on some program logic controllers in the sawmill world. Like I had a slight background of that. I had diagnosed my own CNC and built it myself, right? And so I went out to the machine and I started at the beginning. Turn it off. Check the grounds. Check the electrical connections at all of the parts. Just start at that. And then move to the next. If all that looks good, move to the next thing. Fire up the computer. Open up the software. Is it the current software? Is there an update that needs to happen? Okay, what actual problem is it doing? Not what the operator says it's doing. Start it at factory reset and start there. Do all the functions work? Okay, no, the Z-axis isn't doing what the Z-axis should do. Okay, that narrowed it down. It's not the X, it's not the Y. Start at the Z. Start from that motor and go all the way back. Any rips, tears, anything look weird? If there is, fix it.
Yeah.
Clean it. Open up the container. Clean it. Is there a loose wire? Do all the basics. Make sure all the programming is correct. Get the owner's manual and start at the beginning of it and follow the troubleshooting guide in the owner's manual. I did that. You get to the part where it says call technical support.
Yeah.
I called technical support.
Come on.
And then they told me to go through some things, said, your driver's bad. I said, I kind of thought the driver was bad. I said, how much is it? It's $1,250. Okay. I then went on this little thing called the Googles.
The Googles. He's revealing of his age a little bit there.
I went on the Googles and I said, okay, this is the item I need. Let me see if someone else sells it. I found a place that fixes them and sells new parts. I called the guy.
Yeah.
And he said, here's a great way to do this the next time. He said, take drive board X, put it in drive board C position, and flop them and see if the problem reproduces itself, but in another spot. That's the simplest way. Okay, cool. So I learned something. I called someone when I couldn't, beyond my skill set. I called the right people. I made a few phone calls. I found the part for $700 instead of $1,250. So I saved the money. I saved the company money, 100%.
Yeah.
I saved them time. I did it all in-house. And then beyond like the $1,250, like who cares? $1,250, get it here. The $751 could get there 3 days before the $1,250 one.
Time is almost always better than money.
Yeah. That's how I tactically did the job. And that's how I approach most problems. I start with the owner's manual. I start with the basics. And then I go from there. It's real simple.
So you start, the tactics of problem solving for you are you start with the basics, which is the foundation. And then you go beyond the basics with what you know, and when that doesn't work, then you reach out to people
who know way more
to get different perspectives.
All without talking to the boss.
Yeah.
Like that guy doesn't need to know a thing. From his perspective,
the amount of value that gives you to that organization.
Because he's over there just like furiously trying to figure out his life. And like trying to keep 20 guys busy in a welding shop
without a CNC machine,
making one product, and he's just like, I want to die, and I'm out there just like, yep, I'm good, brother, I'll take care of it. And then I walk into his office and I say, This is the problem. This is a solution. Here's two options: $1,200, 3 days away; 750, and 2 days away. What do you want?
If that's the kind of team member you can be, and I'm just saying this to whoever might be listening, your value is
immeasurable.
Unquantifiable.
You
it
cannot.
is like,
Yep.
yeah.
And even if it's just something simple like, hey, I got a flat, and these are the 3 things I did to fix the flat. I'm sitting in front of a tire shop right now. Can I either have them fix it or put a new tire on? If you call your boss with that, not, oh, there's a flat. Bro, your boss is going to be like, whatever, dude. And if you're a boss, if you're an owner or a boss or a supervisor, give your people the freedom to actually make decisions.
Come on.
So tell everyone that works for you, here's your credit card. If the problem can be fixed with less than $500, do not talk to me.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. If the problem costs more than $500, give me a shout with the options to fix it. And if
To
you
my
say
team, that problem better not be buying lunch for your favorite client.
why not? if the goal is that
Come
you
on.
to have the best client relationships and to develop clients to the nth degree so they'll give you as much possible work as possible, why not go spend $500 on lunch if you got it?
I love it.
Like, don't tell them not to. Let them know. And then the objection. Well, I can't trust my guys. Fire them. Don't have if you can't trust your guys with $500 to solve the problems that are going to make your life better, make your company better, service your clients better, fire them. And if you're like, well, it's your fault.
Yeah.
They're like that because you're like that. So fire yourself and go be an employee.
You've heard of the law of the lid.
I have no idea.
So the law of the lid is
I read a lot of books, but not all of them.
You are, I think it's John Maxwell wrote this, and he said the law of the lid, 21 laws of leadership.
Nice.
You are the lid.
Yeah.
Meaning
100%.
if you limit your people, I want to ask you 2 questions. One is a little unimportant. We've been talking for a while here. Are you okay for time?
I got all day.
Okay. So what is a tool or a piece of gear that you cannot live without? And do you understand what I mean by tool or gear?
Yep, I do.
Okay.
I do.
If you've listened to the podcast, you know what this question is.
Yeah, I know what the podcast question is, and I've asked people on my podcast the same question because I love it and I hate it. So I have a standing rule that if you think you need it, you don't. Figure it out.
Okay, so you got to talk more about that. That's pretty deep.
It is. If you have a tool or a crutch that you say to yourself, I can't do it without X, you need to put that to the side for a certain amount of time. So I have a CNC table, I have a mill, I have welders. If I need to cut out a base plate, the easiest way is for me to draw it on the computer, send it to the table. Actually, it's to draw it on the computer, send it to a laser shop, and have them ship it to me. So I spend 2 seconds doing anything, and it's easy. Sometimes I will cut slots on purpose with a drill and a file. Because if I can't do it with the bare minimum, I need to fix myself.
Yeah.
And so the most important tool that I have is between my ears. That's it. And I know somebody's gonna be like, well, blah, blah.
No,
It's not an iPad. And iPads are a wonderful tool. It's not my phone. That's a wonderful tool. But if I need that iPad to service my clients, I need to really do some self-assessment and deal with me. I have put on too much outward stuff. I've piled on things that aren't really valuable.
Yeah.
If I say, well, I can't get that job because I, don't have my, and I see this in the welding industry all the time. I'll go out to a job and they'll be like, well, I can't make that weld. Why not? Well, I don't have this welder, or I don't have this piece of equipment. Bro, give me 2 batteries and a coat hanger. I'll do it right now. And if I can't, I shouldn't be here. Well, you can't weld on that without an SA200. I made more money with that busted down Bobcat that's in pieces right there than that SA200 has ever seen.
Yeah.
My first welding rig was a 1996 single cab with a $400 flat. Well, I paid $0 for a scrap flatbed that I painted. I put a 10-year-old Bobcat that I got for free because it didn't run on the back of it. I made a set of reels out of some scrap, and I put a propane bottle and a bottle of oxygen on it and a used torch. And I would back into well pads in the oil field next to guys with $120,000 trucks.
Come on.
And I'd send the same bill. The company tells you how much you make.
Yeah.
And he's got an $1,800 truck payment and a $700 welder payment. And I don't have two nickels to rub together.
Yeah.
But we're both still sending the same bill.
Yeah. Come on.
And so, yeah, my most important tool, the one I can't leave home without, that will never let me down, is between my ears.
Come on.
And when I was 17, I got laid off from the landscaping job because I was in high school. It was a drought. And there were guys who had to make a living, pay their mortgage, take care of their kids. And the owners said, hey, we're going to lay some guys off. And so they laid me off. And I was like, Wayne, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm scared. Like, I need to make money. Like, and he said, Daniel, you have a good head on your shoulders, a good head, and you got two good hands. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I've taken that with me my whole life. There is...
Well, no one can take that away from you.
No one can
either.
take it from me. He's like, you're going to be fine. And, that's just the reality. So
I love your answer. I find it interesting that you talk about how you cut slots. Like, I was going to ask you how you keep it sharp, but you just told us how you keep it sharp. Is you keep learning and inviting yourself to remember what you have learned as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty big
I'm also
deal.
not afraid of technology. Like, I'm all about trying to be more efficient or whatever. I just know there are certain things, they're not more efficient.
Yeah.
They're more comfortable.
Oh.
They're not more efficient. They're just safer.
Yeah.
They're not better. They're just not better.
Yeah.
They're not better. There is no better marketing tool than to walk up to somebody and shake their hand and look them in the eye and say, thank you. That's it. Like, your MailChimp, your Constant Contact, your reels being posted at the right time. There is nothing that will make you more money as a business owner than standing in front of somebody after solving a problem and saying, I appreciate the opportunity to earn your business.
There it is. Let's take a break just for a minute, and then we'll come back. So, to be continued.